Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Today, we are playing a little Doom Eternal. Not for any specific reason. Really, because I'm not playing anything currently, so... And, whoops. But you need to play something for hanging with Mangg, so that's the way it goes. Yeah, so that's the way it goes. Yeah, I remember now. The audio's cranked pretty good. They added ray tracing to this game, which is pretty exciting. Can't complain about ray tracing. Anywho, enough talk of that. So this week on this channel, as planned, was just Resident Evil Village and Metroid Dread. Those will both continue this next week. I have a feeling we'll finish Resident Evil this week. I don't know if we will finish Metroid this week. I don't know how close to the end I am for that. But, yeah, either way, we're gonna continue on. All the continuation. Whoops. What did we do? What else did we do? We did a variety stream on Wednesday. That was Little Hope. Second game in the Dark Pictures anthology after Man of Medan. Apparently the third game, which just came out this week, has been getting really good reviews. People are saying, like, the best game they've done since Until Dawn. So that's very exciting. We might just roll right into that. The plot sounded pretty interesting. Where it's like military forces in Iraq or something like that, and they're skirmishing with some locals, but then they fall down into like a Sumerian tomb, and then they awake some demon. I mean, it sounded pretty cool. And apparently, like, death is not that difficult to attain in that one compared to the other one. So I don't know. It sounded cool. So we might just roll right into that. But the variety stream for this week will be more of Little Hope. Over on Two Brothers Play, well, yeah, with Two Brothers Play, we finished It Takes Two. Took us 4 hours to do so. It was a hefty stream last night. But we wanted to finish because next week we're going to be doing sort of a Halloween thing. We wanted to do like a Halloween thing And we didn't really want to, like, interrupt It Takes Two for 1 week just to do that. So I'm glad we finished. So next week, I think what we're going to do is Resident Evil 5. We're going to start that up. We've already done part of Resident Evil 6 a while back. Which we had definitely some fun with. And Resident Evil 5, I recall, being a little bit more sort of horror focused than 6, but not by much.
Slayer, we will break your will yet.
So I think we're actually going to play through that game. So it's not quite a Halloween special. But we're going to start it for Halloween. So it's kind of special. And then after that, RimWorld, they released the, they updated the mod for the multiplayer. So we're going to be able to do RimWorld multiplayer after that. Which should be very exciting. I don't know how many weeks we'll spend on that. We have a lot of games we want to play, so... And Lego was even like, oh, I wouldn't mind doing Two Brothers Play twice a week. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's not say anything we regret here. I mean, I enjoy Two Brothers Play quite a bit. The problem is, whenever I stream, aside from this, I don't upload a video for that day. Because I really try to stick to the 1 video per day thing, and a stream generally counts as a video. And I already record just way too much. I record just a stupid amount. And I have so many videos sitting on my hard drive. Uploading 1 a day is slow enough as it is. So adding more streams to the schedule means less video uploads. Means it'll take even longer to get all that stuff out there. So I don't know. Like, I have all those Fallout videos that need to be uploaded, and honestly, I'll probably never even upload the Ultima stuff, because I don't know who's really interested in that. And to be honest, those videos are kind of cursed. I didn't do well. So, there's a bunch of videos on my hard drive that really I have no intention of ever uploading for various reasons. But I did start recording another LP.
I will be waiting.
Not of a series. This is not a series LP, although I have plenty. I would be recording a whole bunch of series LPs, but I'm really trying to restrain myself to avoid having just hundreds of videos to upload. But I did record I'm in the process of recording a singular LP of a new game. Inscription. It was released this week. It's like a horror card game, which is a rather unique thing. So I've recorded a few videos of that. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Probably won't be an especially long LP. And it's a bummer that it didn't make the October cutoff because it is a horror game, but still, it's good. It's good. So you'll see that once I'm done with Resident Evil. Also, like I said, this weekend for Halloween, I'm just gonna dump out the Super Castlevania 4 LP for anyone interested in that. It just seems like a great time to upload it, and I'd rather not wait till next Halloween. So be it. It's not, I think it's 4 videos, so it's not epic. Too fast, man. So yeah, that's what's going on with this channel right here. Just keep on keeping on. Over on the Exploradora series, I released Inevitable Part 5. Too much fanfare? Not really. Not really, but I'm optimistic that once the whole thing is out, people will just put it on and fall asleep to it, and I'll collect money. That's my hope. I also released a audiobook of a Edgar Allan Poe story, The Black Cat. Did not get an overwhelming amount of views. Lovecraft definitely performs better on the channel, which is a shame because Poe is a highly influential author, inspired Lovecraft among plenty of other authors. And Black Cat's just a good little story, so I hope more people check it out in the future, but either way. This week, I worked on SCP-6500 Inevitable Part 6. The final part. It is over now. I am done with it. And, wouldn't you know it, the final part ended up at a nice, tidy runtime of 1 hour and 48 minutes. Making it the longest part of Inevitable and the longest video I've ever made. And to be honest, hopefully will ever make. That's a stupid... That's longer than many films. It's just ridiculous. So the combined total length of Inevitable is a little under 7.5 hours. Which I think is longer than most Americans actually sleep for on average. So that means that many people can start Inevitable when they go to bed and catch the ending when they wake up. Yeah, it's just... I didn't really want it to be longer than the last part, because I felt the last part was ridiculous. But it's just... It's how long it is. That's what it is. I don't really cut corners. I don't look at it and be like, oh, this is going to be stupidly long. Let me just start trimming stuff out. It is however long it is. So yeah, I don't know. If I could go back to the start, would I do it again? If I had known that it would take up this much amount of time and effort and 6 weeks and an hour and 48-minute final video and all this, would I have actually started it? I don't know. It's too early to tell. It really depends on how well it performs. If it does as well as Ouroboros, then it was all worth it, and it's all fine. It's all good. If it ends up getting, like, you know, the combined video gets, like, 200,000 views, then... yeah, I don't know. Because if I had worked on 7 other different videos, different SCP topics, chances are one of them would have been a decently big hit. So, yeah, it really depends. We'll see. Either way, it is done. I don't have to go back in time. It's over. And I can take a break. Sort of. Not quite on vacation yet. Because there's still the Halloween special that I promised. I didn't really promise. I just said I was thinking about it, but you know how I am, and when I say that, that means I'm going to do it most of the time. Although I didn't do the top 10 horror movies. That's true. But yeah, I'm doing the Halloween special. So the Halloween special was going to be... the original idea was to do like a reading of 2 or 3 kind of shorter creepypastas. Basically ones that that's why I asked for suggestions, because I don't really know that many creepypastas. I'm familiar with, like, the big ones. The Russian sleep experiment and stuff like that. But those are all kind of old, and it's like, that's why I asked for suggestions, because I figured some people are going to keep on the up and up and know some good ones. And I really didn't want it to be that lengthy of a video. Because I knew how much work I was doing here. But then, I started going through the suggestions that people made, and I was checking out, you know, all these different creepypastas. Most of the ones they linked were, like, really long. I mean, creepypasta authors nowadays are writing basically novels. It's basically either, like, people will write, people will, like, make posts or something on Reddit, and these posts will be, like, a few sentences long of, like, sort of a creepy implication of a story, you know? Or people will write, like, a novel, because they'll write a part 1, and they'll post it, and then people are like, oh, I love this, please write more! And then they'll just keep writing, and then it'll become, like, this whole big thing. Which isn't bad, but it's funny because that's what a lot of people complain about SCP nowadays. What button is... Oh, that's... yeah, okay. I don't know why I was pressing G for chainsaw. I should know better than that. So, I didn't want to do, like, only part of one of these long creepypastas, and I didn't want to do a long one. So in the end, I went for just one creepypasta. It's just a one sort of decent length one, like 45 minutes. It was recommended. It's not one that I was familiar with, but I was reading it, checking it out, and it's pretty good. It's called Psychosis. And I liked it. Didn't have much like dialogue or anything like that. Good length, good creepy story. Works for me, so that's what we're doing. That is what we're doing. So I recorded about half of that. Once I'm done with that video, then I can take a break through Halloween. And, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with the channel. So next week, November 1st, I'll just be uploading the combined parts, the 7.5 hour long thing. And then after that, we'll get back to normal with some good old-fashioned SCPs. Yeah, so that's that. What did we play on Monday? Hold on. I'm trying to think. The fuck board game did we play on Monday? Oh, we might have played Agricola again. Yeah, it was our third week of Agricola. So, yeah, we had played Agricola like 3 weeks ago. And we had just played like the basic game with the basic deck. And then afterwards, we all liked it enough. And I was like, you know, there's these two other like decks that I have of different cards. The interactive deck and the complex deck. And I had liked it enough that I wanted to play it again as well. So we played it the next week with the interactive deck. And then it's like, well, now we gotta play a third time with the complex deck. So that's what we did last Monday. So now I think we're Agricola out. We're good now.
It was not easy to find an opponent.
But I did buy Caverna, so we might be able to get that to the table sometime. I also finally bought Spirit Island, which I made some tabletop simulator videos a while back about. Which I think is a good 3-player option. And yesterday... Oh, right. So I finally got my mom around to play Hunt a Killer Blair Witch Season 2. We played the first 2 episodes, and it was kind of a disaster. She has no interest in playing any further episodes. So I'll probably just be playing those on my own. She was pretty mystified. And even I was, like, pretty stuck. It felt much more, like, obtuse and difficult than the first season was. Both episodes we had to like look up the final solution because we were just very thoroughly confused. The first episode had like this puzzle with this map, like this sort of like very crude, not crude, but it was like a very vague like general map that was on the back of this menu from a diner. And you needed to sort of interpret this map and give directions to the victim or whatever, the troubled character. You needed to provide some directions because they were lost in the woods. And they said, oh, the directions I don't think are going to be something normal like a cardinal direction. They're going to be a bit more esoteric. And the map you had to like fold into different positions because on the other side there was like text and there was like letters, but they were like partial letters, so you had to specifically fold the map in different ways to connect the different letters on the other side. And even after you did that, there were still all these gaps in the words. And we had gotten that far, and they had given us like a bunch of these like teeth. They'd given us like teeth, obviously fake, you know, but on the teeth were different letters. And so I deduced, okay, we have to put these teeth into these different gaps in the words to actually form letters. Or to actually form proper words. But it seemed so nonsensical to me, the words that we were like forming. And so that really just introduced doubt into my mind. That I had actually folded the map correctly, because I was like, well, this doesn't make any sense to me. I must be missing something. I must be folded it wrong. So eventually it was just like, we're not going to sit here and waste this much time, so we had to look it up. The solution for the directions that we were supposed to give was listen at the wailing tents. Now, there's no such thing as a wailing tent. That's not a concept that exists. Fuck. So the phrase wailing tents would normally never enter my brain. Now, this is generally alleviated in a game when there is some other mention of the wailing tents at in some other document, like, or you know, some other interview, or I mean, because we even went on the site where they had like interviews with different people from Burkittsville, where there actually were some clues about the map. So maybe if there had been in one of those interviews a character had said, oh, you know, they used to call that campground the Wailing Tents because of the wind or something, you know, I don't know. Then it's just even one mention, but there wasn't. And I know it for a fact because I looked up all the text transcripts on the site and I did a Control F for Wailing Tents and there wasn't jack shit. I mean, in the end, it's just like, what are you gonna, you know, that's what it is. What are you gonna do? But yeah, and then the second episode, I was pretty close, but the night was running long and we were just kind of still frustrated. I think had I streamed it, we probably could have gotten it done on stream. I would have figured it out, but yeah, it was just because it involved a cipher again, and with like my mom wasn't gonna help me figure out the cipher. She was just sort of sitting there, and it was just like, oh, this is not a good use of our evening. And it's a bummer because we're big fans of the game Chronicles of Crime, which also involves you like solving mysteries together. And she really likes that game. That's one of her favorites. And generally that's usually me solving them as without her help as well, but she'll often like throw ideas out there and she follows along. And there's parts in Chronicles of Crime where you're inspecting the crime scene using your phone. And so one person is in the phone using it as like VR goggles, and they're looking at the crime scene, and they have to like call out different details that they see on the crime scene. And other players, or the other player, has to go through a deck of cards and like grab specific pieces of evidence that match those details so you can actually examine the cards later. It's a really well-designed game. It's a whole lot of fun. And, yeah. She definitely has no interest in playing Hunt to Killer again. Especially because she doesn't know shit about Blair Witch. She has no interest in Blair Witch. She likes, like, detective stuff and mysteries. And I had said very positive things about the first season. But, yeah, she would definitely rather just play Chronicles of Crime. Yeah, so that was kind of a bummer. So I guess I'm just going to play the rest of the episodes on my own, because I have them all. In hindsight, had we known that it wouldn't have been a great time with her, I should have just streamed it. But now that I've played the first 2 episodes, I can't really... I'm not going to stream the remaining stuff. It just... yeah. But whatever. It doesn't seem like there's a season 3 of Blair Witch for Hunt to Killer, because I haven't been sent any and I haven't been billed for any, so I think that's it. So that's where we're at. But yeah, play Chronicles of Crime. That's a good game. Okay, horror movies. Let me look. I didn't watch too many new ones this week. That was mostly last week. This week was more watching episodes of Dark, which is a very good show. Let's see. I watched... Is that the only new one I watched this week? I thought I watched one other, but maybe not. Huh. Oh, no, because I watched Midsommar again. Yeah, Midsommar for the second time. It's just too damn long. It's just... I mean, I'm a big fan of Hereditary, but I wasn't crazy about Midsommar when I saw it the first time in theaters, and I wasn't crazy about it the second time. It's fine. It's decent. I get it. You know, I get, like, the themes he's going for of grief and acceptance and family and stuff, but it's just long and kind of weird and just not... It's not that scary. It's not really that horrific. Most of the kills are not shown on screen. It's largely just like a weird drama movie. Like, it's almost something my parents would watch, but I think they would not get it and they would not care for it at all. But it's close to just like, I don't know, it just falls into this weird spot. It's too weird to be mainstream, but it's like, it's not really horrific enough for like normal horror fans. It's just kind of an odd film. It's not bad. I don't hate it. Chances are I'll watch it again someday, but I don't know. It's hard to really classify it as like a horror movie. It's a grief movie. It's a drama grief movie. Yeah, it's very interesting because between Midsummer and The Lighthouse, where for both directors, I love their first films, The Witch and Hereditary, and then they both were just like, okay, that was fine. Let's get weird with it though. Because Lighthouse and Midsummer are both just kind of weird movies. One much more than the other. And neither one just really latched onto me as something I love. So I don't know. Florence Pugh is great. I mean, really fantastic. And it's a very, like, beautiful film, Midsummer. The colors and the fact that the whole movie is, like, set during the day. They have almost no nighttime scenes. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Then I watched Julia's Eyes, which is a Spanish horror movie from 2010, produced by Guillermo del Toro. Basically, this woman, her blind sister dies under basically commits suicide, but she doesn't really believe that her sister would commit suicide. She suspects that she was being stalked or something like that. And then the woman, her eyesight starts to fail because of some degenerative disease. And she starts to believe she's being stalked by somebody. And eventually she goes, like, completely blind. And, of course, she is kind of being stalked by somebody. It's not a supernatural horror movie. It's mundane, I suppose. Pretty good. Pretty good. Definitely ramps up towards the end when she actually goes, like, fully blind. Very interesting, like, cinematography and stuff. Having a blind protagonist is kind of interesting because you, as the viewer, are generally not blind, and they're not going to just, like, make the screen black, to sort of simulate blindness. So you as a viewer are always going to have, like, more information than the protagonist does as far as their surroundings and things. But it does an interesting thing. It doesn't, like, amplify the horror or anything like that, but it's just interesting the way the cinematography was when she starts to go actually blind. The camera, like, continually obscured other people's faces. Like, the camera would either be it would be either below everyone else's head level, so you wouldn't see anyone's heads, or there would always be, like, objects in front of people's faces and things like that. It was really interesting. You'd never actually, like, the second half of the movie, you don't see, like, almost anyone's face except for hers. So it sort of simulates, like, her blindness, that she doesn't know who she's really talking to and things like that. It's just their voices. So it's kind of interesting. Pretty good horror movie. I say, though, if you're interested in a horror movie involving a sort of handicapped female protagonist, check out Hush, directed by Mike Flanagan, involving a deaf woman who is being stalked in her home by a malicious individual. That movie, I think, much better sort of simulates the handicap for the viewer. It does some really interesting things with sound, because the protagonist is deaf and she has like all these like visual alarms for herself, because she can't hear like her phone go off, so it'll she has like flashing lights and things like that. All sorts of stuff like that going on. Really good, and it's fucking Mike Flanagan, so you're gonna get something good. And it stars Katie Siegel, his wife, who's been in basically everything he's done. I don't think she was in Absentia. Let me look. Was that the no? No, she wasn't. Oh, and she wasn't in Oculus. Right. No, she was. She was in Oculus. She played the... Who the hell did she play in Oculus? It must have been a pretty minor character. Interesting. But anyways, that's besides the point. So yeah, that's about it. I think that's about it. We've talked long enough. We've all got more important things we should be doing, so let's just move on with our lives. If you're interested, check out Inevitable Part 6 tomorrow if you have a couple hours to spare. Otherwise, Psychosis, creepypasta reading coming on Halloween next week. This week we've got Resident Evil 8, Metroid Dread, some more of, hopefully, the rest of Little Hope on Wednesday, and Resident Evil 5 on Friday. Two Brothers Play will be on Friday. And that is all she wrote. So, aside from that, I hope you all have a good week and a good Halloween and all that good stuff. Make sure you watch Trick or Treat, as that is government mandated. You must watch every Halloween. But, yeah, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. See you fine folks next week.